Hi everyone, Jay Strobes here. Today I'll be playing Sealed on Force Table. The way that Sealed works is you get 6 packs to build your deck from. Instead of being a 60 card deck, the deck size is minimum 30. You can play up to 3 wins. After that, you are forced to retire the deck on Felt Table. But the way that it works through progression is that you start out, the first round that you play will be against another sealed pool that starts at 30 health base. After that, the base health becomes 34, and the final round, the base health is 38. So if you've played sealed before, maybe in Magic the Gathering or another game, you'll probably know that sealed games tend to be slower already, so they kind of tend to favor uh, higher drop units as the game kind of goes longer. So aggro is harder to do. It is by no means impossible, but even in a normal sealed pool like you'd play in your store, even doing 30 damage is pretty hard to do, to make 30 damage with an aggro deck. So as it goes up to like 38, nearing 40 base health, becomes even harder to do. So I don't know how viable an aggro deck would be on here. And since you can't switch the deck out once you reach your 3 wins, it doesn't really let you keep playing or switch the deck around. That's one thing that I kind of wish it would do. I'll get onto that a little bit more at the end when I go through the deck list and the pool and the choices that we made at the end of the video. I'll talk about that a little bit more. Here with this deck, we are using Krennic in a yellow base, as you can see there. The kind of core of the deck is actually Veers. We've got 3 copies, the most of any card in our deck. So we also do try and play lots of Imperial units to get that buff from Krennic, stack that buff on Veers too to get about 2 extra attack power. At the top end, we are running an Academy Walker, which we've already drawn into. 1 Academy Walker and 1 ATST. We pulled another ATST, but did not decide to run it. Decided to run the Academy Walker instead, just because it synergizes a little bit more with Krennic, since we want to keep that damage on our units. We're also running Bosk, again, like because of his ambush, as you can see there, playing the Academy Walker out. Again, just helps stack those experience counters. You can push a lot of damage, as you see in this first game. I don't think it lasts even 5 minutes. We're at about the 3-minute mark. Yeah, real quick. So we'll be able to deploy Krennic and win pretty soon on the next round. In sealed, Krennic is a bit of a beast in the sense that he, since the games do go slower, pretty much anything that that heals the base, repairs the base, or can do so repeatedly, like on attack with restore, can prolong the game even longer and kind of emphasize that. Okay, we're going to go into our second round against Boba, a Boba deck with a blue base. Just deciding what we want to resource here. I'm going to do the maximum firepower just because we've got Bosk, who acts as removal piece himself. That Mining Guild tie, part of the fun of Sealed, I think, Sealed and Draft, is that cards which might not be constructed playable are definitely playable and can be put to good use in Sealed, especially with a draw ability. Since the decks are a little bit smaller, that Mining Guild tie can help us draw through our deck, find our big cards a little bit quicker. Just debating about that Outer Rim Headhunter, what we want to do next. We'll resource that ISB agent. If we get that Headhunter out this turn, then we can get Krennic out the turn after, and then we can start tapping down their units once Krennic is out. We did pull 2 copies of Entrenched. Entrenched is a good card. Due to Krennic's ability, which wants damage to be stacked on units, it pairs pretty well with that. Since you can swing at a base a few times, and then when the unit's about to die, you can put an Entrenched on it, power it up some more, make it stick around a little bit longer, and keep trading with your enemy's units. Trading with units and board control is important in the game in general, but even more important here, especially because there are tons of events which require units out to make use of them. A lot of them, will allow your unit to attack, add to its power, stuff like maximum firepower. There's a lot more of those cards than just straight removal. So trying to clear out the board can help a lot, because if there's no units out, they can't really use those cards. Here is a bit of a misplay on my part with Bosk. I think I was adding in an additional power from Krennic, thinking he would be damaged for some reason, just mathed it wrong, which left him with 1 health left. And we really need to get Boba out of there. We don't want to let them keep him out, so had to swing in with Krennic there. Okay, they played a 5-drop there. Or one of the more generic. I think there's a suite of cards. They've kind of got like 1 in each color that are kind of just like generic high drop units. That is the one in blue. It does have grit, so we do want to try and take it out in 1 swing, because if very much damage sits on it at all, it'll start doing a whole lot of damage. Just as how I was kind of describing earlier about how a lot of events require units out to make use of them. Upgrade cards, it's the same kind of deal. If they don't have units out, if you can 2-for-1 them, it really makes them lose tempo. And once you've kind of lost tempo, you do start to lose the game, because the idea with that is that if they're playing 1, 2, 3 cards on one other card, and then you use one of your cards to get rid of 2 or 3 of their cards, then you are up on resources, up on actions. And then you start to kind of 2-for-1 them, 3-for-1 them. In that sense, played no good to me dead there. Stuff like that, while constructed playable, is considerably less good in a sealed environment because it just keeps it tapped down for a little bit. It doesn't like actually get rid of the problem. So anything that just delays the game and doesn't actually get rid of it is not necessarily that good. I do have Waylay in my deck. I've also got Outmaneuver, but the good thing about Waylay is it doesn't like just tap something down so it can't be used. It does knock off the things that would be attached. It knocks off experience counters. If you waylay something that's expensive, you basically took a turn away from them. Outmaneuver is I'm only really playing because it can knock out a whole arena at once. Knocking out one unit is considerably less playable. Okay, we're going to keep both of our cards here. They're down though, 6-30, not really even close here. So we'll go into our final matchup, which is a Krennic mirror match against a green base. Do have Search Your Feelings, 1 copy. That'll just allow us to pull whatever we need at any point in the match. I really wouldn't run more than 1 card like that in sealed. And usually, I mean, you kind of would be taking a turn off to do that. Even at 8 resources, you might be able to fetch something like Childson and block up the ground. Or we could also fetch our Patrol Craft and block the sky late in the game if we needed to. But if you're looking for your finishers, like your AT-STs or your Academy Walkers, you're going to be taking a whole turn off to play that. And later in the game, even in sealed, which is a little bit slower, it's not always a very good thing to be doing. So I think it was the first of a few misplays in this match on our end, which you'll start to see here later. We do have the ISB agent. I think it would have been better to maybe keep that tutor in hand and pitch entrenched so that we could have pinged that tie in the air. Okay, they got an overwhelming barrage. Could have been significantly worse for us than it ended up being there. He will opt to get Krennic out. They traded or attacked our trooper with their Krennic. We'll put entrenched on him. That puts him up to 10 health. Plus with Veers out and some damage on him, he'll be hitting for a significant amount of damage. That will help us control the ground. Okay, so around here will be kind of the start of our bigger misplays. We do win in the end, but I think we could have done it definitely in a smoother way. Probably should have played shoot first much earlier than we did. We'll play it at the start of the next round, I think. Uh, but we had enough power on Krennic with Veers and his own ability to easily get rid of that ATST sooner. If you don't play sealed very much, this is really, the kind of thing. Uh, I think this is like useful to play test like on here because it does, especially if you're not familiar with a lot of the leaders or stacking abilities and stuff. I mean, you want to make your mistakes on felt table. You want to make them, playing like this as opposed to in store, right, at a tournament that you've paid money to attend. So um, now is the time to be making the mistakes and playing, a little bit off. Making these videos has helped me a lot in that regard because I have to rewatch them to narrate them, go back over them, and it helps me a lot see the things that I did, see things that I could do better in the future, and definitely has helped my understanding of the game and play patterns and things like that. So, whether that's in person, going back over stuff with someone or watching yourself play, going back over a game afterwards in your mind, thinking like what you could have done, walking back, is a great thing to do. Felt tapo helps a lot with that. You'll see those little numbers on the cards, like in the discard, there's a 5 on ours and an 8 on theirs. They just played a card that says 15. That tells you the order that cards were played in. So when a game's over, you can kind of click through the discard, look at the cards that are out, and see the order that cards were played, and stuff like that helps too. Another thing that this kind of practice helps with is when you're playing sealed specifically, and you're going into deck building on felt table, it will sort all the cards for you based on the leader and the base that you pick, which is definitely good practice for sorting and laying out your cards like you would be doing in a store, because when you're starting your sealed deck, getting ready to play, you will be wanting to lay them out in a similar way that the computer does for you. But is a good example, a good way to kind of like see how that is done. Okay, even with those misplays, we're going to be nearing 30 while they'll be at 0. We'll win here in a second. You can kind of see how sentinel units can be pretty important if you can grab them, because then people can't just keep swinging at your base. So here we'll take a just kind of quick look at our final deck list. You can kind of see the 3 Veers there, kind of like I said a little bit earlier, meant for him to be the kind of central core of our deck, buffing our units, stacking that buff with Krennic, our leader. We do have 2 sentinel units on our end with Childson and that defense walker. The only thing with this deck was we do have a kind of pretty small space force, a lot more ground units. But I think we had enough removal and bounce and stalling to kind of hold up the sky if we needed to, or to rush the ground and go a little more all out if someone tried to jam us up. You can see I included basically all of the cards in these combinations. There are only like a few cards that I did not include. Okay, so we didn't have a lot of choice, you can see there with our leader. I mean, we could have gone with IG-88, but we ended up with a whopping 3 Sabines. Kind of scroll through our total pool here. Spend a few seconds on each one. We did have those cargo juggernauts, but I really think the ATSTs with the Overwhelm and the Academy Walkers are just better units. You don't want to be healing 4 and then have like a 4 power unit, even with 6 defense. I mean, you'll get steamrolled by a number of the better, higher cost units. So that's why I didn't really go that direction. And our higher cost units, like you can see with all those snow speeders, I mean, they're just not great. Not great. The cards that were like outside of our colors. We did have Yoda and Obi-Wan and Redemption. So a really good blue white high um well higher end cards. So I think we'll get down here to the Jedi lightsabers too. I think those would have been, again, very good. I think there was a case to be made for a blue, white, red Sabine deck as the base, and then using those Force users, Redemption, and the Jedi lightsabers. I would have really liked to try that. Like again, my only real gripe, yeah, there's some open fires too. Really great card, good removal. My only gripe, like I said, with this current layout on Felt Table is just that you can't replay. We couldn't do another deck, reset everything, and then try and play through with red, white, and blue, which would have been nice to do, but currently not something that's available, but maybe in the future. So there's the whole pool.